guys, I'm here with Geary here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're about to check out his operation. He's doing nationwide wholesaling using PPC marketing. And he's one of the best that's doing it right now, and we're about to see what it looks like.
Love it.
Let's check it out.
So this is Josh, my TC in front, right here.
Nice to meet you.
Handles all the title work, attorney bullshit, anything that's going on in the company that takes a lot of emails and paperwork.
Okay. You do all the documents.
Yeah.
This is the bullpen here. This is the act floor.
Yeah.
These are my 3 acquisitions here. These are the killers.
These are the killers that make it
Look at
happen.
the shirt.
Hey, I like that. Awesome, bro.
Yeah, this is Rich.
Hey,
Yeah,
I saw you were at the
event. He was selling to Amazon stores.
Oh, he was selling
They went
Amazon
to
stores.
prison?
He's at a call.
Oh, he's-
So
yeah.
these are the sharks, man. She's been with me the longest. She started as a cold caller for me, and when I used to have a cold calling operation out of my house,
we might be able to
and so
make
she
that
would just,
work,
you know,
but-
come to my house and cold call
Yeah,
for me, and then
I'll
I was
make
the
sure
one
I'll
doing the
give you all
acquisitions
that
and going out and
and
closing the
if
deals.
not, maybe we
And
can
she was
figure
such a badass at cold calling. I was like, you know what? You want to try
Okay, you have a great
acquisitions?
weekend.
And that's how she kind of transitions to that.
Man, so she's been with you since the beginning.
and killing it.
Wow.
Absolutely killing it.
understand.
So she
Okay.
might look small and
I appreciate
innocent,
it.
but bro,
am.
she'll slice your throat for $1.
Okay, so y'all are doing all in here. It's all PPC, right?
It's 95% PPC. We still do a little bit of cold calling and a little bit of like RVM and stuff for
Okay.
our local deal flow.
Oh, okay.
So we try to target the local deal flow, so that way we can be, bringing those to the local deals in, because I still fix and flip, and I want to be able to have inventory so I can take down properties and fix and flip. I literally closed a deal probably like 2 days ago that we're gonna fix and flip. Nice basement home here in Arizona, and basement homes are rare out here. And we're gonna convert it to livable square footage, and man, it should be a good 100 pop.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's what I like to hear right there. 100 pop, got a nice ring to it. Okay, so were y'all here with when he was doing telemarketing leads, like with cold calling? You were?
She was.
So what was, and now you're doing PP? She's doing PPC.
Oh
leads?
yeah, she loves PPC.
So what's the difference between the two type of leads? Like when you get a cold call lead and now these PPC leads.
I was like the people, like they're less angry. Like when you do cold calling, it's just a lot of like yous and like stop calling me and all that stuff. But now that we're doing PPC, it's more motivated people that are looking to sell.
Okay. So would you say it's a lot easier to convert the lead, like into a contract?
100%.
Yeah?
More, like you get better leads.
Yeah, better
like,
leads.
Yeah, the quality of
They
them.
actually want to sell.
Yeah.
Instead of just them saying, "Oh, you
called
called
me.
me,
Yeah,
give me an
yeah.
offer."
Yeah.
You can get their price or their sell price out of them first a lot easier. And we all know in sales, it's who gives the price first loses, right? First
Yeah.
one to speak price first loses.
Right.
So when you got a seller who's actually genuinely wanting to sell, it's easy to get price out of them, what they actually want for the property. When we're doing telecommunications, we're running about 70. Last time I checked, we got 72 leads per contract. On PPC, we're running about 19 leads per contract. So it's like night and day as far as like your quality of lead and the mindset of the seller.
So you were at 72 leads
Per contract.
on cold calling.
Yeah, here in the local market. Obviously, we're in Phoenix, so we're super competitive
Right,
with all
right.
the gurus here.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're still locking up deals from it.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
So that's like a big difference for y'all, because you got to call 72 people to get one deal, and now you only got to call
and work
19.
them, the follow up.
And you gotta
right?
follow
all
up.
that follow up is a lot of man hours and time that you got to invest
Mm-hmm.
to get these people to sign. Where in the PPC world, it's not near as much. So if I turn PPC off completely and say I want to do a nationwide cold calling company,
Mm-hmm.
they probably all quit.
So what's one tip y'all could give the viewers what's something in your script that you think works the best in converting the lead? Like what part of the conversation?
I think being able to come to a quick decision and being able to make on-the-spot decisions and get a commitment, because PPC is also, you have to be able to work them fast because it is a hot lead, and if you drop the ball or make a misstep, your competitor will get the deal. So these people are very motivated, so it's a high-stakes game.
Right.
Like, it's basically it's showtime. When the lead comes in, you got to just be on point with every step of the process, because one misstep can basically spoil the whole thing.
Yeah. And so these leads are converting like that, right?
A lot
Like
of
the
them
first call, are you mostly converting to a contract, or is there a lot of follow up in these leads?
Kind of comes in waves, right? So you'll get some that are ready, and
Yeah, you'll get those one call deals, but you're gonna be following up.
You're gonna be following
Your
up?
goal is to get it done, and then day or two though. It's not like
Oh, in a day or two.
Yeah.
So hey, call me tomorrow. Boom, I'll lock it up tomorrow.
So maybe a 2 or 3 call close.
Dang, see that's awesome. I don't do PPC. I do the old school. What he said, 72 calls for a deal.
Yeah.
And
That's the gateway drug into wholesaling.
yeah.
That's what I call it. Telecommunications, man.
Yeah, but it could be a blessing too, right?
Mhm.
Because, for instance, we locked up a deal, or like we had him agree to a deal, a price, 8 months ago, on 2 deals this month. I'll give you a little story. 2 months ago, we had 2 people agree. One was like in September, and one was like in last summer. But they didn't agree to the contract. We kept following up, you know, for like 9 months, 8 months, like for a long time. And then this month, we finally locked it up. We got under contract at the same price we did 9 months ago.
Nice, man.
And it was a $10,000 fee back then for both of them. And now, one of them's an $88,000 fee,
Yeah.
and one's a $75,000
You're
fee.
capitalizing on market appreciation.
The market skyrocketed. Follow-up is key, right?
Follow-up's always key, even in PPC leads, because you're not going to have everyone who's fire ready to go.
Yeah.
And so you still want to be following up with them, hammering them out every single day if you need to, maybe weekly, until they're ready to sign and ready to go. You know, they are going to be talking to a lot of competitors, and so you got to try to differentiate yourself from those guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not always about money. It's sometimes about who has the best rapport,
Mm-hmm.
who's talking to these sellers and figuring out the real pain points and how we can help them get to A to B, right?
Right.
And that is total key, right? So, I mean, a lot of our deals, you know, we have a lot of like holdbacks and a lot of like, oh, we're going to pay off, you know, maybe you give them money for a move, or, you know, there's so many little things that we got to figure out. That cash for keys, that happens all the time. So, I mean, it's about figuring out problems. That's what gets the deal. You got a contract while you guys are here.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Where at?
No, I completely understand.
Tucson, Arizona?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
So I'll pass this
Oh,
over to my
PPC,
underwriting
wearing the
team.
clutch shirt? I love it. Let's go.
Oh,
Hey, I love that you're wearing the clutch shirt, man.
You got to represent, right?
Hell yeah. Alright, so you put on the 100 so you get the 100.
It's always the goal. One thing about building a team that you're going to have to realize when you're especially when you're trying to scale is your team members. You got to build an excellent culture. And so like we have spiffs every single month. Like say a spiff's like we got to hit 200 grand this month. We hit the spiff, then we're all going out and going go-kart racing. Or maybe we go to a resort, a water park in the summertime, hang out, you know, have some drinks and some food, and everyone can play in the water all day on a Saturday. So the key is culture here.
Culture.
And, yeah, and like the wheel he just spun. You know, that's just a little spiff that we do when we lock up contracts. We don't even know if that contract's going to sell yet.
Yeah.
But just for them getting the upfront work done and getting that deal pushed over to dispositions, let them get a little bit on the front end, you know?
Yeah. See, that's awesome. Every time we come to somebody's office, something good happens like that. Like we're good luck or something. We came in, boom, got a contract. We're in the clutch shirt. Let's go.
That's it. You guys should come by every day, right? So like we have an in-house realtor, and her job is to list my flips. So her name is Nakia. She's in this room right here. She does, of course, her own retail side of the business.
Oh, nice.
That's all her, just her. But then when it comes to the flips, she's the one listing them, figuring out all the problems, and because I don't want to deal with the listing side of things, man. Even though I'm licensed here, I don't want nothing to do with on-market stuff because I just don't have the bandwidth for it. So she takes care of all those problems for me.
Awesome.
This is disposition room here. This is Eve.
Hi.
How you doing,
She
man?
does disposition. This is Sylvester,
How
lead
you
disposition.
doing?
What's up, man?
Good to see you
/ part-time
guys.
COO when I'm out of the
Dang.
office.
So these are the
But
ones that make the magic happen.
This is where all the selling happens.
Yeah,
all
that's
the
where it
BS
goes down,
that
man.
falls. They hold it together the best they can, right? These are all the deals. We got 60-something deals. I don't even know how many you got.
Wow.
These guys know more than I do what's going on.
And how many of these are? So you got 67 sold or 67
60-something. So it's contracts. These are
Okay.
all the deals we have under contract. Black is direct to seller. Orange is JV.
Ah.
So we got
JV quite a bit.
a few JV deals, and most of the JV deals are sold. We have one up here that's not. They're still working it, and actually it probably will get sold. It's a good lot deal for development. We've already got some interest on it, but yeah, the rest is your direct to seller deals, and yeah, man, they're just all over the nation.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. So when you sell it, does it get wiped out? Off?
Yeah, It'll get
okay.
wiped off when it closes.
When it closes.
When money's in the bank, that's when it goes off the board, and that's when it gets closed out in Podio. So that way we know we don't have to tend to it no more. If it's up there, that means there's something that we need to tend to.
How do you know when it's sold? When it's assigned?
They mark it assigned in Podio, and it'll write it up on the board in green. So it gets marked in two spots when it gets sold, so that way we all know that, at least we have a buyer in place. Now, just because you have a buyer in place don't mean it's going to be a done deal, because a lot of times title issues come up, you got tenant problems. We got one deal right now, we're dealing with the tenant won't get out, and the seller's lying to us about the tenants, saying that they're going to get out, so we're offering the seller an extra like 10 or 15K, so that way he can give cash keys to the tenant if he needs to, maybe an extra 5K, and also make sure pay him for his headache for doing so. Yeah. So we're trying to save the deal at the 11th hour. I just want to get the deal closed instead of losing it.
California's a tough one.
Oh, it's California?
It's California.
And not to mention, it's California. It's a tenant and their Section 8.
Oh,
so it's like
dang.
it's almost impossible to kick someone out. Yeah. So hopefully money can solve it, right?
Yeah.
It normally does.
We have a little saying here: money fixes all problems in real estate.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Might not
really
fix your
does.
personal life, but it'll fix real estate problems. If you got enough money stacked in the deal, you can just throw more money at it and get rid of the problem. That's why we try to prefer to be making at least 10, if not 20 on the deal in every deal. That way when the issues come up, there's money to be thrown at it, whether it be attorneys, clearing up title, dealing with the tenants, it is maybe dealing with some errors that pop in and they say, hey, I need more money.
Yeah.
Well, we've already got the contract, but I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and throw you a couple more dollars if you guys can just make the deal move forward. So you get issues like that. So when you play in these Midwest states, you get a lot lower spreads. Like for example, in Ohio, our average deal size in Ohio is probably around $5,000. I know there's people out there who get a lot better plots out there in Ohio than we do, but for us, that's just kind of been our track record. So when you got 5K stacked on a deal and you got a problem that comes up, you can't fix that problem.
There's not much you can do there.
What are you gonna do? Oh, hey, here's an extra $1,000 to try to push the deal through, but depending on the problem, we don't know. So we try to have a big enough spread in there to fix all the issues, and that's the biggest thing we've learned about doing the nationwide wholesaling, because every state's different and has their own set of problems. So
do you use one contract to lock up contracts everywhere?
Nationwide, for the most part.
What about the title companies? One title company?
We try to, but the main nationwide title company we use, which is Clothesline, they're only in 43 states. So sometimes we have to deviate from that, and try to reach out and figure out, what title company in that state, in that market will do assignments or maybe a double close, and then that way we can move forward with that title company. But we try to keep to the same title company because we just know how they do business, and it's easier to push that deal flow through. Now without popping up some surprises.
So to me, in this nationwide wholesaling, dispositions has got to be
That's the key.
That's the key, right?
It
so
is.
y'all are key players right now because you can lock up a deal everywhere, but can you move it? Can you find somebody to buy the deal? Because it's probably in little small markets, right? Like a random city in the middle of the United States somewhere. You got to find a buyer for it.
This is correct.
It happens a lot.
Yeah, it happens a lot. And you find buyers from them.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, one of our biggest challenges that we were probably getting maybe 1 out of 5 deals that would close just because we have that problem with the disposition. How do we find the buyers? Are we locking the deal up at the right price? Because every market's so different, man.
Yeah, man.
And when we first started playing in Ohio, you got houses built in the mid 1700s. How do you comp these when you right across the street? You got houses built in the 1900s, and there's no other comps around. So of course they're selling at a discount because their house is tore up. And we found out the hard way, so we're gonna need to buy that house maybe 20 or 30 cents on the dollar versus 50 or 60 cents on the dollar.
So now I know who to call though. When I start PPC nationwide, I know it's gonna be a learning curve to get the dispo up. So I'm gonna say, hey Corey, I got one in, man, I don't even know what city in the middle of nowhere. You found a way to solve that problem.
Yep.
And because y'all have buyers everywhere, right?
We do, and the biggest solution that we've came across for the nationwide wholesaling is 2 things. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% are moved through what's called Investor Lift. It's a new software platform out there where this guy uploaded all the big wholesalers buyers onto one platform, and he's also got a database of all the cash buyers in there that you can pull out. So between that system and then figuring out what flat fee MLS listing companies we can work with to list the properties as equitable interest, and that's moved a lot of our deals too. So the other 20%, you're looking at going into Realtor.com, scraping the first 5 pages of all the realtors who represented buyers, pulling flippers out of PropStream. You can get a deal sold that way. What's some of the other methods we do?
We use the Smarter Contact, which is another
great resource. I don't know if you mentioned that before. Smarter Contacts, definitely a game changer
That's
for
who we
us as
text
well.
with.
We
Blast
text,
out.
yeah, we
Just
text
on the buyer
those out.
side.
On the buyer side, it's just a lot quicker. It's easy, super easy system. But that's helped us a lot too because we have a bunch of different buyers lists we use. Like we have national realtors list. We have
the nationwide
Jeans
realtors
list. We have
Nationwide
obviously
realtors.
Realtor.com, PropStream. So like we pull from a lot of lists. So to sell a deal, the more eyes, the better, right?
Yeah.
So that just gets more eyes on our deals too. I have text messages. I can search keywords to find old conversations. So
Oh, I got you.
it's really nice. I like the Smarter Contact, and that's been a good addition.
Yeah.
Besides MailChimp,
Yeah. We use
But
those
that's
too as
mainly
well.
local.
Key is too, when you transition to nationwide, don't stop your local marketing. Because we made that mistake, and literally, so like when we transitioned, all our local deal flow fell off the board, and that's where most of our buyers are. We got like a 90 to 95% success rate locally, and then we're trying to go into this nationwide model, and we're losing all these deals and spending all this money, and that's why we ran so deep in the red in the beginning. And then I'm like, man, I need to turn on my local stuff again, and you start getting this local deal flow to help fund the company while we're making this transition. So that was one of the biggest key
That's what I
takeaways
wanna do.
in the
That's exactly
beginning.
what I was thinking.
You got to do it strategically when you're
Yeah.
transitioning over, because man, if you drop the ball on that, you're gonna be running in the red. Man, it was 1 month we lost 50,000. I think one of our biggest months we lost was 70, and that was during COVID. We decided to do all this right before COVID, so it was like it was a terrible time to try to go nationwide.
So before we get out of this room, now I want to know what's the most deals you sold in a month?
It's got to be in the 20s, maybe. Is it in the?
Probably high 20s, low 30s.
Yeah.
We could look
Yeah.
up. I could pull the data.
Yeah, he's got to pull the.
I have to pull the data, but yeah. We average probably about 20-ish sold or whatever. Around, we probably hover around there. Where we lock up more, probably more around 30. So like out of every 5 contracts, we can sell 3 pretty, with a good success rate. I mean, sometimes it's 4 depending on the month and what market we're in. Because the buyer piece is kind of figured out now with them desk lift and the flat fee listing companies. But now you got to learn that new market when you start playing in it. And are we buying these properties at the right price? What kind of other rules and laws do they have or fees do they have attached into that market that you got to discover and figure out? So, and the only way you can do that is by just doing it. Doing it and
Figuring it out.
Jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down.
We have learned one thing.
What was that?
We can even sell a house that a tree is growing out of. We have accomplished that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we can sell anything.
So anything.
Well,
At the right price,
At the
right?
right,
That's
it's all
right.
about the price.
That's right.
It's all about the price. Like that Chicago deal we bought for $1.
Yeah, right.
She's like, "There's no way we're gonna sell this thing because he had 20,000 in liens."
Oh my gosh.
But we bought it for $1 from him. He just wants it gone. And so like we locked it up and we look at that like, man, there is no way. And it's like the worst part of Chicago. We got a buyer locked in like 26, so we're making a little bit on it.
You bought it for $1?
You bought it for $1.
He was just like taking it away.
Take
from
it,
you.
just take care of my liens.
The doorknobs weren't even worth $1. That's how bad this house was.
There's a buyer for everything at the right price, that's for sure.